Remember when everyone was dragging Daryl Morey through the mud after Harden called him a liar and demanded out?
Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of again.
People said he'd lost his touch, but here we are less than 2 years later. Philly is a contender. No tanking, no rebuild. So how did Morey turn the mess that was the process into this?
10 seconds left in game 5. Maxey fires! He's got it! Tie game!
And how did Harden end up as Philly's Paul George? Remember this shot?
Turns a corner for the win!
This is one of my favorite basketball memories ever. I will never forget being in that crowd and seeing that ball bouncing on that rim for what felt like ages. Memories like these stay with you forever, which is why I am excited to make even more memories this year with the help of Game Time, the sponsor of today's video. With Game Time picks, it's easy to find the best deals for events happening near you. $63 to watch Texans versus Vikings, $113 to see the best music composer on the planet live, $25 to watch Anthony Edwards face LaMelo Ball. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code GOAT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code GOAT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. It all started over a year ago when Harden shocked everyone by opting out of his $47.3 million player option, only to immediately demand a trade. Things got messy, fast. Then the bomb dropped. Harden was done with the Sixers. He wanted out, and he wasn't quiet about it.
Too late to repair the relationship?
I think so.
And a few days later, he set fire to his relationship with Daryl Morey, calling him a liar publicly.
Let me say that again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of again.
As if that wasn't enough, Harden decided to skip the team's media day in protest of not being traded.
So we were all wondering if James Harden was going to show up to media day today, and if he did, if he's going to talk some shit about Daryl Morey. They don't have to worry about that.
Hey.
Because he didn't show up today.
On the surface, it was all so shocking. It was wild to think that less than 2 years ago, Morey was all smiles, greeting Harden at the Philly airport after sealing a deal with the Nets. He was supposed to be the perfect partner for Embiid, the guy to replace Ben Simmons.
Simmons, they cleared out for him. Tapping his way in. Spins on Gallinari. Gives it up. Oh, he was right there. And a foul as Thibault goes to the basket.
But suddenly, it was all over.
The front office had other plans. You know, they didn't want me.
Any hope of contending for a title seemed to vanish, and even Embiid's faith in the franchise was hanging by a thread.
I just want to win a championship, whatever it takes. I don't know what that's going to be, whether it's in Philly or, everywhere else. I just want to have a chance.
Harden was about to destroy yet another franchise on his way out.
Embiid bullies his way inside. Out to Harden for the three. Got it!
Demanding to be traded only to the Clippers. But all they offered were role players and some picks, forcing the Sixers into a major unplanned pivot. However, Morey came out of it with some serious draft capital and 4 players on expiring contracts. Nicholas Batum.
Batum for 3 in the tie. Oh! He put it in! Batum! Battalion! Assemble!
Marcus Morris Sr., KJ Martin, and Robert Covington all solid. But it was clear they were brought in for one big reason: flexibility. Their pending free agency was the real prize. Morey didn't rush into anything.
James Harden opted in, and at that point asked for a trade. And at that point, when we took a step back and said, okay, if we do trade James, what is the right plan?
He played it smart, knowing exactly what he was doing. The thing about Daryl Morey is that he's not one to let emotions cloud his judgment. This guy is the dean of the NBA's analytics movement.
The analytics really helps you forecast what's observable.
Data is his compass, guiding every move he makes. Every decision boils down to one question: does this boost his team's chances of winning a title? And if it comes down to choosing between wins or loyalty, Morey's going for the win every single time. So Morey did what he does best. He made the smartest deal he could.
And then bringing back those expiring contracts, moving out PJ Tucker. This is a team now that could have up to $65 million in salary cap space in the summer.
Just imagine the guts it takes to head into an off-season with only one player on a guaranteed contract. That's almost unheard of. But after the Sixers got knocked out by New York in Game 6,
It's over! This war of attrition is won by the Knicks!
that's exactly where they stood. Morey's decision to clear cap space was bold and borderline reckless. It meant letting 13 of the Sixers' 15 players become free agents. That's 87% of the roster. Only Embiid and Maxey were safe.
In transition. What a pass to Embiid! My goodness! Posterizes Baines!
And even then, Maxey was set to become a restricted free agent, so the Sixers were banking on keeping him. The slate was clean, cleaner than it had been since Morey first took over a roster cluttered with mismatched pieces like Al Horford, Josh Richardson, and the ever-volatile Ben Simmons.
Bring the ball in.
He bounced it off the backside of Thornwell. Yikes.
Heads up.
Now Morey was ready to craft the team he envisioned, centered around his two stars, Embiid and Maxey.
Scotty gets denied at the iron.
Tyrese goes past it, lays it up and in.
It was bold, no doubt, but also a masterclass in strategy.
Big off season for us. We're excited. We obviously have two great studs to build around in Joel and Tyrese.
But here's the thing, a lot had to go right for this plan to work. Morey didn't shy away from his intentions either. At the end of season presser, he made it clear he was going star hunting.
We're very well situated to use all the tools to upgrade the team, and we're gonna put every effort into that.
Armed with cap space and a treasure of draft assets, he had the ammo he needed to make a splash. But there are two sides to every deal, and Kendrick Perkins of all analysts called it first.
I'm the MVP, so don't forget that. I just gotta get a little bit of luck.
That's one more piece.
And I know everything else is gonna take
Maybe one more piece, Joel.
The piece might be sitting right on the side of it. The piece might be sitting right next to it.
Thank you so much.
Do you view yourself as being here long term with Kawhi, with James, with the rest of the guys?
Yeah, if it works that way, absolutely.
PG-13 wanted a 4-year max extension, but LA was reluctant to include that extra year.
So now we go into negotiations. Now they bring it to 3 years, 150. I'm like, all right, well then it only makes sense for me to do 4 years, 212, right?
Yeah.
Like at least pay me my money. If y'all gonna trade me, then y'all gonna trade me.
And that's when Morey saw his chance to strike. After weeks of back and forth, where it seemed like the Clippers were trying to call his bluff, George realized he had options on the table.
So they didn't want to do that. So then I was like, now I'm open to entertaining what's out there.
He could have opted in and maybe forced a trade to the Warriors, though as we've seen with Harden, that road can get pretty bumpy. He could have taken the 3-year deal to stay close to home, running it back with Kawhi in the Clippers' brand new state-of-the-art arena, or he could have jumped ship to an up-and-coming Magic squad loaded with young talent. But when the dust settled, PG-13 made his choice. He chose Philly. And at that moment, everything started clicking into place for Morey. Oubre and Kyle Lowry, two key pieces from last season, re-signed. And then came the flood of free agents: Caleb Martin, Andre Drummond, Eric Gordon, and Reggie Jackson.
Jackson outside. Shot clock at 6. Makes the fake. It's a free.
All choosing the Sixers, and in many cases, taking deals below market value. Morey knew what was happening. He said it himself. Contending teams tend to attract the best free agents, sometimes at a discount. And who wouldn't want to play with the triad of Embiid, George, and Maxey?
3 to shoot. Gets down. Lets it fly for the lead. Hot damn! Clippers lead by 2!
The Sixers had 3 stars that were a magnet for veteran talent across the league.
Talking back to the crew chief, Maxey for 3, another!
Their plan had worked, and now they have assembled a roster that's looking like one of the strongest in the league. A roster that could genuinely challenge the defending champions Celtics. I mean, no one in the NBA is more clear-cut about how to build a team than Daryl Morey. We all know stars drive winning, but Morey, he's taken that idea and has run with it. For almost 2 decades, he's been laser-focused on one thing: chasing stars.
To win in this league, you need multiple very, very elite players. The history of the league is pretty much unequivocal on that. You except for maybe one or two teams in the entire history of the NBA.
Because in his mind, it's the only way to build a contender. Forget about trying to pull off a 2004 Detroit Pistons miracle. Morey's not interested in those championship outliers. In his book, the formula is simple. You need a top 10 guy.
Good ball movement and the emphatic finish.
Maybe another top 20 guy. And why not throw in a top 30 player too?
Maxey using the screen. Maxey accelerates all the way. The layup goes at the buzzer.
For him, without those pieces, you're just rolling the dice. He is all about cramming in as many high-level players as possible and figuring out the rest later. That's why, even after Harden dipped and Maxey started showing out, Morey kept his eyes on the prize, another star.
George wants it all. The three! Oh, my goodness! Hot damn! Paul George puts the Clippers out in front by one!
77-69. George down the lane, hangs and hits. What a play by Paul George!
Because in his world, if you don't have those elite pieces, the rest wouldn't even matter. And now the Sixers have finally got all the right pieces. George was hitting 45.4% of his catch-and-shoot threes.
Double team finds George, hot potato three. Oh, it's good for George!
And ranked in the 94th percentile as a pick-and-roll ball handler.
Here to the fourth. Deep tomorrow night, George, step back three.
That's just ridiculous. But let's be honest, this isn't a risk-free move, and neither is Morey's whole strategy. There's a reason the Clippers weren't too keen on giving George that fourth year he was after. He is 34, and that's no small thing in NBA years. Throw in all the injuries he's racked up and the games he's missed, and those red flags start waving pretty bright. Mix George's injury history with Embiid's, and you could be looking at a future where the Sixers are playing half their games with 60% of their salary cap sitting on the sidelines.
Joel, yep, he's going to head directly back to the Sixers locker room. So the absolute last thing we want to see.
And while Morey might not stress about filling out the rest of the roster, we've seen plenty of playoff teams get burned because they couldn't put 5 guys on the floor who could hold their own on both ends. The Sixers have made some bold moves. They have gone all in, and the stakes are high. Daryl Morey is playing his cards the only way he knows how, stacking stars and hoping the chips fall in his favor. With Embiid, Maxey, and now George, Philly's got a lineup that could challenge anyone in the league if they can stay healthy, that is.
They angle something toward the rim. It gives to Embiid. He'll turn. Got off the shot and hit it. Oh my! There's gonna count the bucket.
The East is going to be a battlefield next season, and Philly is right in the thick of it. Only time will tell if this bold move will pay off or if the Sixers will be left asking, what if? Either way, one thing's for sure. Daryl Morey isn't afraid to roll the dice. And for better or worse, we're all about to find out just how far that gamble will take them. Anyways, wherever you are in the world, be the GOAT of that moment. Stay GOATed.